Good day everyone. Now we're gonna tackle about Darcy's law. So Darcy's law states the principle which governs the movement of fluid in the given substance. Darcy's law equation describes the capability of liquid to flow via any porous media like a rock. So ang Darcy's law is a principle or a system by which gina-describe ang flows ng water through different elements, different medium. Kaga depende man siya sa size ng particle niya ginalagyan. For example, balas, bato, gravel, sand, mga mud, clay, depende. The law is based on the fact according to which the flow between two points is directly proportional to the pressure differences between points, the distance, and the connectivity of flow within rocks between points, and measuring interconnectivity is known as permeability. So sa permeability, by definition, kagbase man sa ato nga topic, ang permeability amo na siya ang rate of flow ng tubig sa paglabay sa magkalain-lain ng mga elements. And based sa diagram, no? Yes, diagram. So, dito makita this is a representation of what is lang kakalatabo sa bigla. In real life kid pero area na siya to diagram na sa. So, sa sininga diagram may ara siya ng gapakita sa may duwa ka cylinder. Ang cylinder may magkalain-lain sa tubig. May ara man sa cross-sectional area. Kag you see the view here, amo ni siya ang direction kung diin ka flow ang tubig. So bali ang as to how na ang tubig from left to right, do ka based on naman siya common sense kay syempre mas dako di ang mas taas ang cylinder. So kumpara sa piyak, ang rate of flow naga-depend man na siya sa pressure mo, amo na nga sulat din pressure differences. So bali ang pressure magkalain-lain ang pressure. Kaya for example, the more siya nga mas taas, the more siya nga mas kusog ang pressure. Pero ang time malain na siya. Depende sa, kaya ginaputo account man ng distance kag ang iyang cross-sectional area. Kaya for example, kung gamay ang cross-sectional area, taas ang for example, madako ni siyang iya pressure. Tapos ang next naman niya, ang mas nubo nga cylinder. So, kailangan nila ma-achieve ang state niya ginatawag nga equilibrium. So, kung gamay ang cross-sectional area, tendency is madako ang pressure, madako man ang iya resistances, malain ang iya nga time. So, ari man natin we have our Darcy's law equation that describes the relationship among instantaneous rate of discharge through porous, medium, and pressure drop at a distance. So, do ka self-explanatory naman nga Q is equal to KADHDL. So, makita mo man Q, water flow, hydraulic conductivity. So, ang hydraulic conductivity, amo siya amon sa kuno ang hydraulic. Amo siya ng hydraulic head, which is gina-base sa reference point. So, next. Darcy's law application. One application of Darcy's law is to flow water through an aquifer. Darcy's law is with the conservation of mass equation equivalent to groundwater flow equation being one of the basic relationships of hydrogeology. Darcy's law is also applied to describe oil, gas, and water flows through petroleum reservoirs. The liquid flow within the rock is governed by the permeability of the rock. Permeability has to be determined in horizontal and vertical directions. For instance, shale consists of impermeabilities which are less vertically. This indicates that it is not easy for liquid to flow up and down by a shale bed, but it is easier to flow side by side. And under this law, may siya mga limitasyon. Kay hindi siya applicable into almost all, applicable siya in all situations, but it is not correspond to assumptions. So makita mo may unsaturated flow, and fractured rocks and granular media, transient flows, and sedimentary flow in aquifers, homogeneous and heterogeneous. So bale sa pagkabalo kung unsaturated and saturated flow nagadepende ni siya sa pores lang ara sa balas kay syempre lain-lain amo may mga lain-lain nga voids nga ginatawag. For example, lain ang sizes sa mga particles. Ang iba niya, for example, kung ang tubig maglabay sa bato, tikita ko ang bato, tendency is mas dako iyang void spaces. mas dasig makalabay ang tubig kumpara ay malabay siya sa clay, which is pino, and which make it harder for mas budlay siya kay gamay ang void spaces. So an aquifer is a body of rock or sediment that holds groundwater. Groundwater is the word used to describe precipitation that has infiltrated the soil beneath the surface underground. There are two general types. May duwa ka types ng aquifer, confined and unconfined. Confined aquifers, to simply put, amo ni sila mga hidden deep underground la, mga spring water, mga magkutkot kabubon. Kaya siyempre, mga ganit nila independs ang aquifer nga, for example, ako makutkot ko sa likod balay, siningunta 6 feet, ara ng tubig na yun. Pero siningunta ako dako balay mo, sabi ka sa kilometro, halin sa backyard, baka to sa gate ka ng kutkot. Pero pagkutkot mo tayo bubon, 20 feet ang kutkot mo. So basically, mayara elevation git ang ang mga aquifers kailan lain plastada mo lain set up sa mga duta. So unconfined aquifers amo siya where ang ground water is direct contact with the atmosphere. Though to simply put man, ang unconfined aquifers amo siya mga obvious na gid bala para sa mga lakes, rivers, mga baybay nga ini sila yan nagadepend sila sa topology, geography, season and tidal effects. Magsilang ka topography sa level sa duta, isa iba niya duta mas taas, iba mas lubo. Ang geology kung ano siya nga type sang landform law, mga kung sa hills lain man, sa mountains lain man sa mga plains. Ang season syempre mayara winter, mga sa iba niya lugar galain ang season, galain man ang setup sa duta. Kay for example kung autumn kalataktak, kung fall kalataktak ang mga dahon, damol, galain man lang plastada kay dala man ang mga kahoy-kahoy sa mga sa mga particles nga ginlabyan sa tubig. Kag tidal effects siyang depende sa bulan blaw. For example, if you have noticed kung full moon, tag-as ang tubig, grabe ang gravitational pull sa bulan sa baybay, may taas ang tubig. Kung ano naman niya, gaano po siya, ito yung mga punta taytay lifestyle. So, unconfined aquifers are usually mga aquifers, gina-recharge kini sa ulan, kaya din balagalin ng tubig, siyempre sa ulan. So, thank you. That's all.
Good day, everyone. For the subtopic of basic subsurface flows in hydrology, we have groundwater flow in confined aquifers. And first, we must know what is an aquifer and what is a confined aquifer. So first, what is an aquifer? An aquifer is a layer of unconsolidated and consolidated rock that is able to transmit and store enough water for extraction. And what is a confined aquifer? It is an aquifer below the land surface that is saturated with water. Layers of impermeable materials are both above and below the aquifer, causing it to be under pressure, so that when the aquifer is penetrated by a well, the water will rise above the top of the aquifer. Okay, so this is an illustration of various aquifers, specifically confined and unconfined aquifer. So this is a confined aquifer which we were talking about because it is surrounded by impermeable materials. This is the impermeable materials, and it confines the water inside it. Therefore, it is a confined aquifer. Groundwaters separated from atmospheric pressure by relatively impermeable materials is termed confined groundwater. As you can see, this is the confined groundwater because it is confined. It is inside the permeable materials. Water within a confined aquifer is normally under pressure, and if it's intersected by a borehole, it will rise up higher than the constricted boundary. If the water reaches the Earth's surface, it is referred to as an artesian well. So let's go back to the illustration, and as we can see, this is a flowing artesian well. It's because water from the confined aquifer came out to the Earth's surface. Confined aquifers may be replenished or recharged by rain or stream water infiltrating the rock at some considerable distance away from the confined aquifer. Groundwater in these aquifers can sometimes be thousands of years old. Thank you and have a good day.
So hello everyone, I'll be the one in our group who will discuss about groundwater flow in unconfined aquifers. So before that, I'll define some words lang na importante kag relate sa unconfined aquifer. So the first one is groundwater. Groundwater is the water found underground the cracks and spaces in soil, sand, and rock. So you can see na in the picture na water that occurs below sang surface sang earth nag-occupy sang tanan nga void spaces sa soils. And it is called groundwater. The next is groundwater recharge area. Groundwater recharge or deep drainage or deep percolation is a hydrologic process where water moves downward from surface water to groundwater. So example is in trees, watersheds, lakes, and ponds. Next is water table. Water table is the upper level of an underground surface in which the soil or rocks are permanently saturated with water. So, mani siyang mga boundary between the soil surface and the area kung sa diin nga ang groundwater saturates space between sediments and cracks in rock. The next is potentiometric surface. Potentiometric surface is the imaginary plane where a given reservoir of fluid will equalize out to, if allowed to flow. A potentiometric surface is based on hydraulic principles. For example, two connected storage tanks with one full and one empty will gradually fill or drain to the same level. Flowing artesian well. A flowing artesian well is one that has been drilled into an aquifer where the pressure within the aquifer forces the groundwater to rise above the land surface naturally without using a pump. The perch water table well. Perch water table well or perch aquifer is an aquifer that occurs above the original water table. A confining unit. Confining unit is a relatively low permeability geologic unit that impedes the vertical movement of water. So the meaning of permeability or low permeability, it means that it doesn't allow water to flow. So examples sang low permeability units are shale, clay, and silt. And the next is aquifer. An aquifer is an underground layer of water-bearing permeable rock fractures, or unconsolidated materials. Ang example sa ginhatag kong peak in real life and then in diagram. So, aquifer is a body of rock or sediment that holds groundwater. And there are two types of it. The one is the confined, and then the one is ano siya ang unconfined. And then unconfined aquifer. An aquifer is an underground layer of water-bearing permeable rock fractures, or unconsolidated materials. So the depth to the water table varies according to factors such as topography, geology, season, and tidal effects, and the quantities of water being pumped from the aquifer. Unconfined aquifers are usually recharged by rain or steam water infiltrating directly through the overlying soil. So typical examples of unconfined aquifers include marine areas of coastal sands and deposits in river valleys. So here's the diagram para mas maintindihan nyo ang mga terms na hatag ko sa inyo. So, ang the bottom part, isa mo ni siya ang confined aquifer. Wherein nga ara siya between sa confining unit in which is not allowed nga ang water to flow. So, and the other up here, isa mo naman na siya ang unconfined aquifer. That's all.